I have noticed for a while now that there's a big disconnect that always exists within the market, specifically within AI, but it's within broad markets, between what the market says and what the market actually does. When it comes to AI specifically, the market says don't like take risks with AI, don't expose your data, don't give AI decisions that you wouldn't want anything without accountability to make, etc. And then what the market does is they utilize the technology for all of those things. And then when it comes to law and the legal industry, very specifically, I see this more than anywhere else. And to me, the legal industry is a unique industry when it comes to technology overall because it's a large market, but it's not like conglomerated. So it's a lot of smaller companies. And then these companies do tend to be forward thinking as far as their technology approaches, but they don't have the same kind of approach to technology that your typical organization or business would, meaning that they're not they don't get swept into being like a uniform type of shop. Like, for example, if I go into a standard business, it's either like a Microsoft shop or a Google shop or an Amazon shop. Whereas with a law firm, that's not the case, right? They're less technology, they're more technology agnostic overall, but they're big users of technology, and they're big users of very specifically AI. I see this all over the place, right? That there's just so much usage of AI when it comes to the legal industry. And I personally have zero love lost for the legal industry. I am willing to give you shovels to dig yourselves. That would nothing on this planet would make me happier, flat out. I'm just being honest. So within that, if you want to utilize AI for your legal business and within the legal industry, as multiple of your peers are, then I'm going to outline for you specifically and exactly how to do it. Up front, I wouldn't do this. I would not. If I were in charge of a law firm, this is the last thing that I would do. Again, your peers are doing this, and I know that you are doing this because I get hit up about this all of the time. So, despite that disclaimer, do what you will with this. So, I like this particular framework that they lay out within this overall because with their framework, what they're suggesting is a model agnostic wrapper approach, which is what I have told anyone that wants to look into these things from the beginning. Like if you want to look at, in this instance, what they're creating is essentially, we're going to call it a RAG database, a RAG and a vector database, right? A RAG tuning model with attached to a vector database. If you want to achieve and build out a structure like that, which I do recommend if this is the road that you want to take, make sure it's model agnostic. That's the most important thing within this, right? Meaning that what is the top LLM model today, right? Like, let me start off with that particular question. April 7th, 2025, what is the very top number one LM model out on the market right now? I don't know. That's a debated question. I don't know. And it depends on your specific use case, right? What is the best also isn't the cheapest. If you want like the model that I'm recommending to everyone right now, it's Gemini 2.0 at 17 cents per million tokens. If you want the absolute best, GPT 4.0 is like $5 per million tokens compared, or 4.1 compared to whatever it is, compared to 17 cents per token, right? So $5 compared to 17 cents. Big differentiation there. And then so like the performance isn't anything significantly different. So to me, it's important to be model agnostic. That's going to change tomorrow, right? Like there's going to be, like in 2 days, Quen's going to be releasing models. Maybe you want to switch to Quen. So not building around the model itself is an important part of this framework, right? But then very specifically, diving into this framework overall, like to me, it's better to look at it from a visual perspective. And then so what you see is that, so as I mentioned at the top, what you're building out is essentially like a RAG tuned, a RAG model and then attaching that to a vector database. And then what we're looking at here is a standard workflow, right? So if you're familiar with like enterprise organization workflows, this should look pretty straightforward and standard for you. So in this instance, you have an input, and then the input is the document description plus document title. And then so in this instance, you're making it very specific, right? This model is being trained very specifically to generate legal documents. And then so within the legal documents, it's trained on the format of these legal documents. So then you give it the input in the trained format that it's known, that it's used to, right? So you just keep it exactly like that. Then you select your model and it attaches and it goes through that model. And then the model is trained very specifically on clauses and section titles. So it's going to generate a list of clauses and section titles, which will include introduction, parties involved, and user obligation. This is part of the framework, the training framework that they build out, right? This kind of like fine tuning that you're going to do to the model. Then from there, you have user-driven editing of generated titles, which will include introduction, background, and entities involved. Then the model is going to iterate over each of these sections. So it's going to perform some sort of logical function. Then it's going to generate the current section title, pass that back to the user-selected model. Then you have your section content, section summary. This is all stored and updated and connected to that vector database. So that's why you want to have your vector database within there. And then for that, it's utilizing retrieval of top K relevance token summary from the database itself for generation, and then it outputs the model. So for the token generation, and kind of like the bottom line is that it's utilizing and pulling from that vector database. So it has a grounding, right, in the documents that it's pulling from. And then so like for dates, specific cases, etc., what you're doing is you're grounding it to only pull that information directly from the vector database overall. The vector database is the biggest part of this. I mentioned this a lot and multiple points on my channel, that kind of the best thing and the first thing that you can do as a business when it comes to these things is to vectorize your data, to create a vector database, right? I always deal with this question. Like businesses ask, like, step one, what is step one that I should do in order to like get AI ready or to get into AI? My step one is to like get your database and your data ready to be vectorized, right? Like in order to vectorize your data, that like it needs to be very clean, pristine, and crisp, right? That's kind of the bottom line with it. And if you think that your data is clean and pristine enough to get into a vector database right now, I guarantee you it's not. Like, so step one will be that you want to clean it. Step two will be that you want to clean it again. And then step three is that you're going to want to clean it again before bringing it into the database overall, right? I can't stress that part enough. And then cleaning it means you want to remove stop words, you want to remove punctuation, you want to make sure that it's all lowercase. There's a lot of cleaning steps that are involved in order to clean and get your data ready to put it into a vector database. And that's the hardest part of this. Like, so then once you streamline that process, you have your entire backlog of data ready and within that process cleaned and ready to go, then it's easier to go forward and then put new data into that vector database. But the hardest part of that up front is creating the data and creating the clean data in order to put into that database overall. And that's like honestly the biggest part of the maintenance of this entire structure, more than the models itself, more than anything else. It's that data layer, and then figuring out exactly how to keep your data clean, structured, and maintained, right? That's like like nothing within AI fixes that gap for businesses, which is why businesses struggle mightily with AI, because to me, this is the biggest issue with every single business that I've ever faced. Like like none of them ever have clean, pristine data up front, right? And then they don't want to go through that exercise because it's a painful exercise to go through. But So highlighting overall within this, essentially from there, what you get and then what they lay out within this paper is very specific, a very specific mechanism and framework for moving this forward. The other thing that is in this research paper very specifically that I'm not going over is, so this research paper is for India law based very specifically. So if you are interested in law in India, they do also attach the data set that they utilized for this, which is like India law, basically overall, right? But what I can tell you, I mean, flat out, like if you go to Hugging Face and you type in law or legal overall, you can find a bunch of data sets and find kind of like anything that you need overall to fine tune a legal model. And it's far more places to go than just Hugging Face, like not just calling out Hugging Face within that as a singular resource or the singular entity that you could go to. There's a plethora, like a hydra of entities that you could go to in order to get the data that you need to train these models. The data isn't hard, right? Like lawyers are willing to give up and sell themselves out, surprisingly enough. So data is easy to come by, especially when it comes to the legal industry overall. Setting these up and then setting up this particular framework, setting up your own RagTune model is and then specifically for legal purposes, as they're laying out here, is not advised overall, but these types of research papers exist. The clients that contact me for these use cases exist. The lawyers that I talk to on a daily basis exist. So I know that you're utilizing the models for this type of use cases and you want them for these types of use cases. I wouldn't use them for these types of use cases, but here it is outlined for you, very simplistic and easy to do. Again, it's going to come down and bottom line to that vector database, right? And then so you want to vectorize that database. So hopefully this serves you well. Go legal industry overall. And if you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.